Hey everyone, welcome back. So I'm very excited to do a follow-on video to that ETH2X flexible leveraged index video I did a couple weeks ago. If you haven't yet seen that video, you can click the link in the top right, or you can also go in the description and find the video there. I think a lot of folks found that helpful because these strategies allow you to get 2x leverage exposure to ETH and now BTC or Bitcoin without taking out debt yourself, and you have no risk of liquidation here. So overall, it's a very great strategy, and it's much safer than taking out a loan yourself and managing the position manually. I definitely recommend you all to stay tuned because I'm actually going to show you how to get a really substantial yield on providing liquidity to this 2x leveraged Bitcoin token. The yield is up to about 600% right now, which is pretty wild. I do expect that to decline, but if you want the full details on how to do that, definitely stay tuned. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to hit the subscribe button below and then turn the bell on so you get notified as soon as I put out a new video. In addition, if you're not in the innovation chat, the link to that is going to be below as well. So let's jump right into it. As you can see here, I'm on the Index Coop website and I'm on their BTC 2X Flexible Leverage Index token page. Now, if you're not familiar with how these tokens work, it's actually quite simple. Basically, they provide 2x exposure to the price movements of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up 10%, this fund would go up 20%. If Bitcoin falls 10%, this fund would go down 20%. So you're getting 2x exposure to the upside and the downside, which is definitely something you have to keep in mind. Now, it's very fascinating how they constructed this. I'm going to walk you through it very quickly, but again, that ETH2X video is also going to be a helpful resource as well if you're looking to invest. So as you can see in the allocations section, this token actually uses Compound, which is a very secure and established DeFi protocol. So what this index does is it basically goes to Compound, it lends out WBTC, and it borrows USDC against that WBTC. It then sells the USDC and converts it to WBTC, essentially getting a 2x long position on WBTC. So if you were to do this yourself, you'd face a really significant liquidation risk if the price of BTC crashed. If you didn't have a bot monitoring your position, you could essentially be liquidated out of the entire value of your portfolio. Fortunately, when you use this token, all of that is managed for you, so you don't really have to worry about it. You're simply going to get that 2x exposure to the price movements of Bitcoin without taking on that risk and having to manage the position yourself. Obviously, this is also going to save a lot on gas because you just have to buy this token. You don't have to lend the money to Compound and then borrow against it. Now, this index just launched a few days ago, so you can see the stats indicate it's still a pretty small token. So the market cap is 2.6 million and there's about $800,000 of volume in the past 24 hours. Something I do want to point out is the streaming fee here. Under the stats, they listed at 0.95%, but when I scroll down and you can see here fees at the bottom, it says the streaming fee is actually 1.95%. So I just reached out to the team and I will probably annotate this video when I get an answer from them of what the true fees actually are. Now, when you take into account the high yield farming strategy I'm going to show you in just a bit, I think this is totally worth it and very reasonable. Again, they are managing this position for you, and so you're really taking on less risk as opposed to if you were to do this yourself. Now, if you recall in the ETH2X video, I brought up the CoinGecko page just to show you that the prices moved pretty in sync and that the ETH2X token pretty much always doubled the return of ETH. Obviously, the BTC 2X leverage index token is a bit newer, so we don't have as much data to work with. But if you look at it briefly, it looks like it's pretty close. You can see that Bitcoin is reporting that it's 10% down and the 2x token is reporting that it's 24% down. The day-to-day fluctuations might deviate from that 2x goal to the upside or the downside, but over time, especially with the ETH token, we've seen that this tracks the 2x movement of the price pretty well. I'll of course include the links below, so when you watch this video, you might want to pull out the prices and just make sure that over the long term, this BTC 2x token has successfully 2x'd the return of Bitcoin. Now, one really important thing to note is that the ETH2X token, all of that liquidity was on Uniswap. With this BTC 2X token, all of the liquidity is on SushiSwap. You'll see in a moment, if you're interested in yield farming, this is actually great news because this pool is incentivized, and I'm about to show you how you can earn about 600% APR on providing liquidity to this 2X token with WBTC. I will include a link to SushiSwap's announcement, but you can see here they have the onsen round 3 menu where they're basically incentivizing the BTC 2X flexible leverage index token with the WBTC pair, and they're providing significant rewards for that right now. So I'll show you how to check the yield, but this could go down depending on when you watch the video, just something to keep in mind. Now, if we go to sushiswap.com/yield, again, the link is below, we can type in BTC here, and we can see the BTC 2X Flexible Leverage Index and WBTC pair. You can see there's about $500,000 of liquidity, so really not much at all, and this video is coming out really early, so you might be able to get in while the yield is still so high. You can see the current APR is 655%, which is pretty staggering. Now, a portion of that yield is going to come from the liquidity provider fees. So every time someone makes a transaction, you get a small piece of that. I'll show you in a second. I think that comes out to be about 100% of the APR. The rest of that APR comes from Sushi rewards. So obviously, if you're interested in this strategy, definitely check out SushiSwap, see if the Sushi token is something you want to be rewarded in. But of course, you could always just sell the token rewards or compound it back into this position. Now, in this video, I'm not going to dive too much in the specifics of why this is a good opportunity and doesn't subject you to much impermanent loss. I dove pretty deep in that in the ETH2X video. Again, the link is going to be below, so definitely check that out. But the summary here is that these tokens are so highly correlated that the most impermanent loss you could face is really just a few percent. The reason being is if Bitcoin goes up 100%, then this 2X token is going to follow suit and go up 200%. And so since they're so correlated, you're not really facing much impermanent loss. Again, in that previous video, I showed you how you could calculate that yourself and model out a few different scenarios. So in addition to SushiSwap's interface, I'm also going to link the vfat.tools interface below, which is a bit easier of a calculator to see how much you'll be earning through this strategy. Now, as you can see here, there's the BTC 2X Flexible Leverage Index WBTC Sushi pair. And you can see the daily, weekly, and yearly return. So the daily APR is 1.72%, the weekly is 12%, and the yearly is currently 625%. Again, these are pretty wild numbers. I do imagine that will go down as more TVL enters the pool and as more people see this video. But definitely check this out at the time of when you watch it. Again, the link to this is going to be below. Now, in the innovation chat, I do get a lot of questions of like, what's the easiest way to enter this pool? And I usually almost always say Zapper. So you can see here, this is the website zapper.fi. I will include the link below. But this tool basically allows you to zap into a liquidity pair with just a single token. So you could actually buy those Flexible Leverage Index WBTC LP tokens with just holding ETH or USDC or DAI or really any token. All you would do here is make sure you're on the pools page, and then you could click here and type in BTC, and you'll see BT2X FLI comes up. And you can see here that you can invest in the SushiSwap LP pool. Now this ROI is showing you 123% because this only takes into account the swap fees. So that means even if SushiSwap wasn't incentivizing this pool, you'd still be earning 123% on the swap fees that you would generate from providing liquidity. Now, if you are interested in participating in this strategy, all you would do is select the token you want to transact from. In this case, it's ETH because I have a little bit of ETH. I would type in how much I want to convert, and then it would automatically convert it to this LP token, and I would just hit confirm and submit that as a normal MetaMask transaction. Now, if you do want to receive those SushiSwap staking rewards, which is kind of a no-brainer, you're providing liquidity anyway, you might as well stake on SushiSwap. Make sure you go back to this SushiSwap page and go through the add liquidity process here. When you do that, you'll see that Sushi rewards will populate every block on this page, and you can claim those whenever you'd like. So I hope that was helpful. This is probably one of my quicker and simpler videos. Please subscribe if it was helpful. If you want to see more, definitely like the video. And then of course, we would always love to see you in the DeFi Innovation Chat. It's been a fantastic community so far, so please join the community and contribute there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.